ब्रह्मण उपहरति एकदैव यजमानायुस्तेजो ददाति महादेवी स्वामिने नमो नमः महादेवताभ्यो नमो नमः
ओम श्रीवत्समायुष्यमारोग्यमाविदाशोभमानं मदीयते धान्यं धनं पशुं भगपुत्रलाभं शतसंवत्सरं दीर्घमायुः ओम आदोनः इन्द्रशुमन्दशद्रं ग्रामं संकृपाय महागस्ते दक्षिणेन विद्वाहे द्वाः दुविगुर्मिन् दुविदेष्णं दुवीमहं न गिर्त्वा सूरदेवानमर्तासो दिक्षन्दं भीमं नहां वारयान्दे एदोन्विन्द्रं स्तवामेषानं वश्वगाश्वराजं नरादसामर्देशन्नः प्रस्तो चदूप गासितद्रवश्यामां गीयमाणमभिराधसायुकुरदानो वरदक्षिणेनावि शौवेन प्रमशा यन्दद्वारां दुरादर्शां नित्यपुष्टाङ्गरीषिणीम्
ईश्वरेकं सर्वबोधानां दामिगो भक्तये श्रयम्
श्रीकरञ्च पवित्रञ्च रोगदोषनिवारणम् योगैकवश्यकरमुण्यं भस्मं त्रैलोक्यशासनं दीर्घायुष्मान् बलेन सिद्धिरस्तु ललिता महात्रिपुरसुन्दर्यम्बिकायाः श्रीराजराजेश्वरी अम्बिका देवी अनुग्रहाणां पूजितेश्वरस्य सर्वोपचारं समर्पयामि।
ओम
श्रीर्वच्चमारोग्यमाविदाशोभमानं मदीयते धान्यं धनं पशुं बहुपुत्रलाभं शतसंवत्सरं दीर्घमायुः
राजराजेश्वरी अम्बिका प्रसादेन सर्वाभीष्टफलसिद्धिरस्तु।
Introduce her? Yes. Yeah. Got my cake.
Hello. Welcome to this third talk in South London by Rajarajeswary, Shukriya Chaitanya of Chimya Mission. Shukriya ji is a resident teacher of Chimya Mission UK in Hendon, North London. We would like to thank Sri Rajarajeswary Amman Temple for hosting this wonderful cave for us. Thank you. For those who are meeting Sri Priyaji for the first time. Sri Priyaji was born in Nairobi, Kenya, where she was first introduced to the tradition of Advaita Vedanta through Chennai Mission. Her family emigrated to London in her childhood, where she continued to attend youth classes. After graduating in politics from York University, she took part in a one-year community service-oriented program for youths in India. Inspired by this experience and previous exposure to scriptural study, she joined a 2-year residential Vedanta course in Mumbai and was initiated into the monastic order in September 2016. For those of you who may not be familiar with Chennai Mission exists to provide everyone from any background the universal wisdom of Vedanta and the practical means for personal growth and development. Chennai Mission was established in 1953 by devotees of the world-renowned Vedanta teacher, Swami Chinmayananda. Guided by his vision, devotees all around the world formed a wide range of spiritual, educational, and charitable activities, enabling the lives of thousands in India and across its borders. It has continued to grow now worldwide with over 300 centers. In the UK, Chinmaya Mission offers a range of study forums and activities in English based on the Indian scriptures for everyone, children, youth, adults, that empower and transform individuals. Before I pass you on to Sri Priyaji, can I please remind you all to switch off your mobiles or put it on silence? That would be very helpful. Thank you.
We'll begin with an invocation. Can everybody hear, please? The topic for this evening's talk is an ideal vision. And what we'll try to do in the next hour or so is gain an insight into what essentially is the vision of Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, which is the vision of the Bahavad Gita, the vision of the Upanishads. And Vedanta begins with this question to all of us. And that question whatever it is that we do. Anything that we do, from waking up in the morning to all of our chores, our job, our home commitments, our commitments in the society, why do we do anything that we do? And the great thing about Vedanta is that even though it asks a lot of questions, it also gives all the answers. So in case you're not sure why you do what you do, Vedanta tells you that the reason we do whatever it is we're doing is because we're all looking for happiness. We're all looking for peace. We're all looking for contentment, for some peace of mind in life. And that's the reason that we are doing whatever it is. Somebody gets married, it's because they feel it will make them happy. Somebody doesn't get married because they feel that will make me happy. People have children because they want to be happy. And people don't have children because they want to be happy. So whatever it is we do, it's because we are searching for this happiness. We're searching for this peace of mind. And so we try and gather people around us who we feel will make us happy. We try and find the ideal place or location that makes us happy. We try and gather the objects around us that give us some satisfaction when we experience them. We look for experiences that will give us contentment. And even though we are often really just trading these things in and out for one another, okay? You find one person who you think makes you happy, and you spend some time with them, and then you find actually, this is not the right person. Let me swap for someone else. And so we make different friends and we form different relationships. We do the same with places, right? So we live in a place and we find, actually, you know what, this place isn't giving me what I need. I need more adventure. So people from small towns move to big cities. And people in big cities feel, no, this is too much adventure. So they'll move from the city to a small town. And so we go from place to place and we wait for times and we look for people to make us happy. But those who are aligned with the Vedic vision of life, those who understand what the Vedas are teaching us, understand that peace of mind and happiness doesn't come from just arranging all these different things in our life according to our liking. That actually our daily experience of happiness comes as a result of our karma. That our experience of pleasure or sorrow comes because of some particular actions that we performed. This is the principle of karma as presented to us by the Vedas. And simply put, all it says is, as you sow, so you will reap. Right? So if I perform some good actions now, I will reap the rewards of those actions in the future. They will bring me joy. Not necessarily in exact correlation with what I've done. Okay? So we shouldn't understand karma to be an exact thing. In the sense that if I'm giving charity today, the result of that is not that in my next life or next year somebody will give me the exact same amount in the exact same way that I am giving today. It doesn't work like that. I help an elderly person cross the street so that when I'm elderly, someone will help me cross the street. It doesn't work like that. I do something good, and that measure of happiness or that measure of pleasure will come back to me. This is the principle of karma. And so those who are aligned with this Vedic vision understand that if I want happiness in life, all that I have to worry about is my own actions. I don't need to worry about what anybody around me is doing. I don't need to worry about any situation, any other person, about the environment. I just need to worry about myself. understanding this principle of karma because we can't see the direct correlation. But if you think, what's the alternative, right? If the happiness that is coming to me or the sorrow that is coming to me is not the result of an action that I've performed in the past, what's the alternative explanation? Number one is, it's random, right? There is no cause and effect. People just get what they get, and it's random. But if there's absolutely no cause and effect relationship, then cause and effect should not be seen anywhere in the world. If there's no cause and effect for karma, then cause and effect shouldn't be seen anywhere in the world. But we do see that relationship everywhere we live, right? Can you plant a mango seed and grow an apple tree? What will you get? If you plant a mango seed, what will you get?
Mango.
Mango tree. It's not a trick question. There is an effective cause and relationship. There is a relationship of cause and effect. Okay? The other alternative is, what people often say, is it may not be random, but I'm getting what I'm getting because God is sending me these experiences. But then what happens is, God is then characterized as, number one, someone who is partial. And a God that is partial can be cruel. If the joy and sorrow that I'm experiencing are not a result of my own actions, nor are they random, they are being distributed by a universal intelligence, which we call God. How does God decide, at this moment on this day this person is happy, and at this moment on this day another person is sad? If it's up to God, then that type of God will be partial, right? Because God is deciding according to his own whims and fancies that this person should have this much sorrow, this person should have this much joy. And nobody wants that type of God, right? Nobody wants a God who is cruel or who is partial. And that's not how God is described. And so it's not random. What the Vedas say is it's not random. It's not up to God. It's down to our karma. And the reason that we perform any karma that we're performing is because we want some joy as a result of that karma. Okay? Whether it's a small joy or lasting joy, we want happiness, and that's why we are doing whatever it is that we are doing. And so someone aligned with the Vedic vision of life will understand, if I need to be happy, if I want to be happy, all I have to do is perform good karma. Okay? If you do good, you will get good results, and you will be happy. It's as simple as that. But what does it mean to do good? What do we mean when we say our life can be focused on doing good karma? So the simple answer is for us to focus on our responsibilities. Okay? Do your duty, fulfill your responsibilities. And the other way of looking at it is every single person who is born has some responsibility in 5 areas of life. We are all born with some debt. And this life is given to us to try and repay that debt. The first is to the natural world. We all have a debt towards this world that we're living in. Because everything that we are provided with is provided to us freely. the sun and the air and the water and this whole beautiful world that we enjoy has been given to us without asking. And so one meaning of doing good is give something back. Whether that's just throwing out your leftover rice into the garden so that some birds can come and eat it. Sometimes people have a problem with this because they throw out their rice and they think, I want the birds to come and eat. Invariably, who will come and eat that rice? If you're living in London, you will get rats or mice. You will get foxes. You will get other creatures. And so people get very annoyed. Oh, this rice is for the birds. Why are these other creatures coming? Or do something good for the environment. Nowadays we're all very much conscious about the way that we live and what we're putting out into the world, right? So we do our best to recycle and not use too much energy and to be eco-friendly wherever we can. So this is one way to ensure that we are doing good in the world. One is towards the natural world. The second is we have a debt to society. There are so many things that are provided to us by society that we have an obligation to try and repay that debt. And this is repaid through some seva, some social service, doing something good for the people around us. Right? So some time in each of our lives should be dedicated towards some sort of service. Now, whether you do that on a regular basis or you take some time out and you dedicate time to going out and serving a particular section of society, that's up to you. But some time should be given. The third is we all have a debt towards our ancestors, without whom we would not be here. And for many of us, we have seen that within the last 1 or 2 generations, that actually even just to live in this country, our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents made so many sacrifices for us to have these opportunities for education and for earning our income, for gaining wealth, for enjoying so many things which they never got to enjoy. So we have a responsibility towards them. Right? There is some obligation. And so that means maybe my parents are affiliated with some charity or some organization. I also contribute towards that. Maybe my parents are responsible for something in the community. I take up that responsibility. We try and repay that debt. Third, the fourth is we have an obligation towards the rishis. In other words, those from whom this knowledge has come, this knowledge that we are enjoying, and because of which our life becomes so much more fulfilling, so much richer, so much easier a lot of the time. We have a debt to them. And therefore our life is an opportunity to repay that. And how do we do that? By, number one, actually understanding the knowledge that is passed on. And number two, trying to protect and preserve that and pass it on in whichever way we can. And so whether that's through temples like this or through the Chinmay mission, that's exactly what we're doing. Right? We are protecting and preserving this knowledge and passing it on. And the fifth is that we have a debt, we have an obligation to God. We have so much that has been given to us, again, that no one else can take responsibility for either. That has come to us because of God, from God. And so we try and repay that also. Now, for most of us, the idea of being in debt is quite scary. Right? Nobody likes to be in debt. It's not a nice idea. But here, the perspective on these rinas, as they're called in Sanskrit, is quite different. Those who understand what the Vedas are saying understand that actually it's such a joy to have received all these things. And therefore, to have the opportunity to give back is also a joy. It's not a weight hanging over my head that I have to repay this debt by this date, and if I don't, then I will lose everything I have. That's the beauty, that even if we're not aware and we're not trying to repay this debt, nothing is going to get taken away from us. Right? We don't serve our parents. Our parents are not going to say, okay, well, I'll take away everything I've given you. We don't serve society. Society doesn't take back our education or all the services that we've been provided with. So it's a joy to have the opportunity to give back. So whether our idea of doing good is focusing on our responsibilities, performing our dharma, or performing these 5 yajnas as they're known, repaying these 5 debts, the understanding and the Vedic vision of life is, if I do good, I will be happy. But, and this but comes only for those who have lived it this way, what we come to understand is, even though we can provide ourselves with peace of mind in this way, even though we can ensure that our life is a life well lived if we follow these principles, action is finite. And therefore the result of action will also be finite. So if I'm doing good to experience good results, those good results will also be finite. I'll give you an example. Okay? You wake up in the morning, and some people, when they wake up in the morning, first thing, they are absolutely starving. Right? Feeling so hungry, as though if I don't get something in my belly in the next 10 minutes, I will just faint and collapse. Some people are very happy not to eat. So you eat something, right? And that desire at that time is so strong that I need to eat, I need to eat. You eat something, that hunger is satiated. So you've done the karma to gain the result. Now, how long does that result last for? Depending on your metabolism. For some people, it's half an hour. Half an hour after breakfast, I need a second breakfast. At the most, it will be a few hours. But sooner or later, you have to eat again, because you'll feel hungry again. Right? So the result of action is finite. And that means if I want to continue to be happy, I have to just keep doing good. There is absolutely no margin for error. If sorrow is the result of negative karma, there is no margin for negative karma in my life. And as much as we try to be good, there are times when our mind makes it impossible. We want to be good. We want to be kind to everyone. We want to be generous. We want to be patient and giving and compassionate and forgiving and all those things. But sometimes it's just impossible, right? Whether that's because of an experience that you're having, whether there's someone in your life who just knows exactly which buttons to push, and every time you speak to them, all thoughts of becoming a saintly person fly out the window, and you end up being exactly what you don't want. At some point or another, we do perform actions that we don't want to perform. And in Vedanta, we say that's because we have all these impressions from past lives that are acting on our mind, right? That push us to react in a certain direction, even if we don't want to. And also what it means is, even if I'm doing good in order to gain happiness, if I'm identified with my mind, the mind also has its own, the results of past actions to go through, right? I can control what I'm doing now, but I can't change what actions I've done in the past. So even if I decide from today I'm never going to speak a harsh word to anyone ever again, if I yelled at someone yesterday, the result of that is going to come to me at some point. And the result of that will be experienced in my mind. And as long as I think I am my mind, I will experience sorrow in the mind as my own. And so we move from karma as the solution to understanding that actually karma cannot be the solution, because the result of karma is always finite. Think of it this way. If you could choose the type and the quality and the length of happiness to experience in your life, which type of happiness would you choose?
Infinite.
Would you choose finite happiness? Finite peace of mind? If somebody said you can have peace of mind that lasts 10 minutes or peace of mind that lasts half an hour, which one would you choose? But if somebody said you can have either peace of mind that lasts for a day, or you can have peace that lasts forever, which one would you choose?
Forever.
You would choose forever. And if peace of mind that comes from action can only ever be finite, then action cannot be the means to us attaining endless happiness, endless peace. Everybody with me? So now, we move from doing to knowing. Why do we move from doing to knowing? Because knowledge once gained is never lost. Right now, if I asked you all to recite your 4 times tables, would you be able to do it?
Yes.
How long ago did you learn your 4 times tables? Nobody wants to admit. Our age will get revealed. Real knowledge, right? Once we've really grasped and absorbed something, that knowledge is never lost. Unlike karma, unlike the result of karma, which is finite, knowledge, once gained, is never lost. Somebody will say, but the things that we know are finite. Right? We may not lose that knowledge, but I can gain knowledge of something and that thing itself will end. So then the question is there something which I can know, which number one, will not come to an end, and number two, will give me that peace that I'm looking for? Is there something by knowing which all my sorrows in life will be brought to an end? And number two, the nature of which is infinite. Can you find any such thing in the world? Have you come across such a thing in your life so far? No. I'll answer for myself. You can answer for yourself. where Vedanta comes in. Because Vedanta, whether you say the Upanishads or the Bhagavad Gita, they tell us that actually, yes, there is something. There is something which is the nature of happiness. There is something knowing which all our sorrows come to an end. Knowing which endless, infinite peace is attained. And what is that? It's not something different than us. It is our own self. Our own true self, which is other than the body, other than the mind, which is beyond ignorance. That self is infinite. And being infinite, that self is of the nature of bliss. And if we know that, then we have attained what we are seeking. What are we seeking? Infinite peace, infinite happiness. Anything other than that self, which is finite, anything other than that is, which is infinite, anything other than that is finite. Now if you just think in your life, okay, we just take a moment to reflect. Think of all the things that you are dependent on in your life. It may be a thing, it may be a person, it may be an experience, whatever it is. Think of all the things that you are dependent upon in your life. Do all of them have a beginning and an end? Is there anything which does not have a beginning and an end? Whether in time or in space or with reference to other things. Whether you thought of a person or an object or something subtle, everything that we are dependent upon for our security or for our peace or for our happiness, everything has a beginning and an end. And if I'm dependent upon something for my security, and that thing itself is finite, can my security be infinite? Will I feel endlessly secure depending upon that thing? No. If the thing that I'm dependent upon for my happiness is finite, can I be endlessly happy depending upon that thing? No, because it comes to an end and my happiness also comes to an end. The beautiful thing about Vedanta is it makes us truly independent. We go from dependency to, at the transactional level, being interdependent, to truly being independent. And all it takes is for me to know myself. For me to know myself as something other than a body or a mind. For me to know myself as something other than this finite personality. That's all. It's very simple. How is that knowledge gained? So that there is a whole process. Okay? One attains purity of mind, one goes to a guru, one is taught this knowledge of the Upanishads or the Gita, etc. And through that, one comes to understand one's own true nature. And that knowledge of the infinite self is the vision of Vedanta. That is the vision of the Bhagavad Gita. And that is what we call the ideal vision. Why is it the ideal vision? Because with that, we gain what we are truly seeking in life. We gain that infinite peace that we are searching for. I read a really beautiful thing once. I don't even remember who wrote it. But it said, you can never have enough of what you don't really want. You can never have enough of what you don't really want. Now, what is it that we are seeking? We are seeking, whether you call it peace or happiness or contentment, whatever. That's what we want. But what are we pursuing in life? Objects, position, wealth, property, relationships. And what do we want? Happiness. Now we can pursue those things all we want. But they're not really what we want. And therefore, however much we get of those things, it will never be enough. Because the nature of those things is not what we're seeking. What Vedanta is telling us is you can attain that thing which, the nature of which is exactly what you are seeking. You are seeking peace. The nature of your own true self is peace. You are seeking happiness and bliss. The nature of your own self is bliss. You can attain that. It's possible. Hopefully that's reassuring and not... Now what some people will say here is, listen, this is all very well and good, but it's very impractical. Right? To have this vision of an infinite self. What's that got to do with me and my life? I'm living in this world, and I'm having to interact with people, and they're all different from me. And everything is separate. Where is this vision of oneness? We need to acknowledge and live in plurality to be successful in this world. What is the point of trying to see oneness everywhere? So there is a very interesting portion in the Bhavad Gita, in the 18th chapter, where Sri Krishna discusses 3 types of vision. He says, if your vision is based on plurality, if you don't want to see oneness, you have 2 options. The lowest option is that instead of even seeing the totality, instead of even seeing plurality, you just pick one thing and you become overly fixated on that, to the extent that you cannot see anything else. And you see this, in life, you see people become obsessed with something. To the extent that they'll start ignoring everything else in life. Okay? And why look at other people? We should look at ourselves. We become obsessed with something, and we forget everything else. Especially, some people have that tendency in their mind, personality, to kind of fixate on something. And what happens then is we just become totally deluded. We are unable to see anything else. Our vision becomes so narrow. We become so fixated that actually we ignore everything. We ignore the important things in life. He says this is the worst kind of vision. Slightly better is to see plurality, but to see all of plurality. But even there, if our vision is based on plurality, that I'm different from you, you are different from me, and we are all different from one another, if there is difference, there will always be competition. And competition will always lead, inevitably, to conflict. I'll give you an example of this. Right? How many of you watch some sort of sport, whether football or cricket or whatever it is? Right? Now, what do people tend to do? Some people just enjoy watching, right? So they'll watch anything. But most people, what happens is, they will pick a team. Right? So you could support anyone, but what do? You pick a team. And now, because you've aligned yourself with that team, to win every single match that they play. Which, number one, is not really realistic. But number two, unless maybe you support a really good team, I don't know. Maybe they win all their matches that they play. But number two, you are inevitably setting yourself up for disappointment. Right? Here are some people who, they have no idea of your name. Okay? They don't know where you live. They don't know who you are. But your whole life becomes, they have to win. And if they don't win, some people's whole day gets ruined. Especially if the matches in the morning is the worst thing, because the whole rest of the day gone. So there is a vision of plurality. We acknowledge that yes, there are others. There are others apart from this one which I'm fixated on. But still we align ourselves with one. And we're unable to see everything impartially. This is the mediocre or middling type of vision. And then what Sri Krishna says is, what is the best vision that you can try and develop? The best vision is to acknowledge plurality, but to be able to see oneness beyond that plurality. That is the ideal vision. And actually we do this all the time. It's really not as hard as it sounds. When you go to a mithai shop, how many of you like mithai? You like sweets? And lots of people. You go there and you see all the different varieties, right? You have your barfi and your kaju katli and your, what are all the others? I don't know, rasmalai, gulab jamun.
Jalebi.
Yes, I don't even know the names. And they come in all sorts of wonderful shapes and sizes and even colors, right? But you look at them and you understand that actually whatever you're choosing, actually what are you eating? Sugar. You're just eating either sugar and milk or sugar and
Nuts.
whatever it is, nuts, wheat, semolina. So they all look different, but essentially what are they? Sugar. You're practicing a vision of oneness every time you go to the sweet shop. So now some people will hear this and say, now I know what I have to do every weekend. It's as simple as that, right? You look within your own family. Even if there are just 3 people in a family, you will find so many differences. Even if just 2 people. And yet, what do you understand? We are part of one family, right? As different as we are from one another, we are part of one unit. When you go to your workplace, there might be someone who, every single time you see them, that person gets on your last nerve. But you understand that we're working for the same company. In the community, in society. And the idea is to be able to look at anyone and understand that if we don't have anything in common, we're all human beings. Right? Even if everything about this person is unfamiliar. Fundamentally, I'm a human being driven by my own hopes and dreams and desires. And so is that other person. Even if I can't find anything in common with them. And actually this vision extends even further. I'm not even looking at my oneness with just human beings. This highest vision is to see our oneness with all creatures, but also all things. How do I see similarity between myself and this microphone? Or myself and this tile? How do I see oneness between this and this? I exist, this exists. That's it. Now to elevate our mind, where we're able to put aside all differences and to recognize the commonality of mere existence, requires some subtlety, it requires some purity. But that vision of oneness is the one which will bring to an end all sorrow and all fear. There is no other vision which will truly bring an end to fear or to grief. Fear comes when we think that there is someone other. Right? That's when we feel threatened. Say you're alone at home, right? Late at night, and you think you're alone in the house. All the lights are off, and suddenly you hear some noise downstairs. You're not expecting anyone. What will be the thought that comes to most of our minds? Fear, right? Who's that? Some anxiety, some worry, some fear. And you go downstairs and you realize it's your family member. What happens to that fear? It dissolves immediately. Why? What's happened? All that's happened is you now know this is my person. That sense of difference, that sense of distinction, that is gone. The vision of oneness is the vision that removes our fear and it removes our grief. Karma can give us happiness that is short-term. Knowledge can give us happiness that is lasting. Not knowledge of just anything, but knowledge of this self which is infinite. And that is revealed to us by Vedanta, using all the Upanishads. But all that is being said is, we just have to understand ourselves. And we can understand anything else in life, but if we don't center ourselves first, life will always be difficult. There's an example which I think is so apt that I really love. If you go to a new place, right, whether it's like a park or a shopping center or something, it's the first time you're going there. And you know you have to get to a particular point or a particular shop. And so you go and find a map, right? What's the most important thing on that map?
Where you are.
Exactly. It's that little red dot that says, you are here. Because as long as you know where you are, you can navigate to anywhere. You mistake where you are, if your starting point is wrong, you will never end up where you want to be. And so all the Gita is giving us, what Vedanta is giving us is the correct starting point. And that is for us to understand ourselves clearly. That's why at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, even though Arjuna's question at the beginning is, please tell me what to do, right? What is my shreyas? What is the best thing? At the end, he says, Nashto Moha. My delusion is gone. And delusion is the root of grief. Grief arises because of a lack of understanding or misunderstanding. That's why Sri Krishna doesn't say, listen, you don't have any questions, just ignore your questions, just get up and fight. Why does he sit there and talk to Arjuna? Because he knows that the problem is Arjuna's ignorance. That ignorance can be removed by knowledge. And then he'll be ready to do anything. So if we want, whether it's the ability to face life and any challenge that gets thrown our way, whether we want to be successful, whether we want lasting happy relationships, whether we want just peace, the most important thing is, have we understood ourselves? And it may not happen overnight, but if we don't give any time to that, and we focus all our time on other pursuits, those things they can never be as meaningful as we want them to be. And hence the most important thing in life, according to Vedanta, is we understand ourselves. Okay, we'll conclude. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. There are just a few announcements, so please stay seated.
Welcome everybody. Thank you so much, Sri Priyati, for today's talk. I think we've been all submerged in 3 days of blissful knowledge. Thank you so much, and I think we've not had enough of you, so we would like to welcome you again soon, as soon as you can. And thank you all for coming. Thank you so much to the temple for hosting us today. We're really grateful. I would like to share some of the upcoming events for Chinmaya Mission so everybody is aware and they can make use of the opportunity. We are conducting an art of storytelling workshop on the August 12th at Chinmaya Kirti, Hendon. We encourage parents, grandparents or anyone with interest in developing the skills to share stories from Hindu culture to take the opportunity to join us for this upcoming event. It's an interactive workshop. Professor Arundhati Sundar is specially visiting the UK to conduct this workshop. It's a rare opportunity to develop skills for an important cultural contribution. Please visit our website chinmayauk.org for further information and registration. To continue on how Bhagavad Gita helps us and enrich our life, in September, our current Chinmaya Mission head, Swami Swarupananda, will be visiting UK and he'll be conducting a 5-day talk on chapter 14, Beyond Moods, at Wembley. The talks will be held from 7:30 to 9 p.m. starting from the 9th to the 14th September. Again, all this information is available on our website. Please do visit our website. Closer to home in South London, we conduct Bal Vihar classes for the ages from 5 to 14. These are conducted by trained volunteers who follow curriculum that enables the children to connect with the Indian values and culture in a fun and a loving atmosphere. On our website, we have online and in-person classes to cater for everyone's need. So please check out the website, chinmayamissionuk.org. And if you want to be kept in loop about the upcoming events, there is a bookshop at the back on the left. If you can please leave your details so we can add you to the CM UK WhatsApp group so you do not miss any of the future upcoming events. And we also urge you to have a look at the beautiful collection of the books we have for children and adults at the bookshop. There's something for everyone. Finally, I just would like to thank you all for coming and thank you so much, Vikrati. Really grateful. Thank you.
I just want to say Swami Swarupananda, he is giving all the lectures in Wembley, but about one lecture in South London. We are ignored completely.
Hari Om.
लक्ष्मी राक्ष फलसिद्धिरस्तु आयुल आरोग्य ऐश्वर्य फलसिद्धिरस्तु
Thank you so much. Thank you. Brilliant. Definitely. Those were just beginning.
கட் பண்ணிடலாம்.